Nepal, with over 5 years of service supporting innovators and entrepreneurs. A trained engineer and innovation facilitator, he's helped bridge the gap between grassroots innovations and national development, championing inclusive and sustainable innovation ecosystems.
Well, we are pleased to welcome Mr. Mahip KC, a senior representative from National Innovation Center NIC in Nepal. Mr. KC has been an integral part of NIC for the past 5 years, working closely with innovators and entrepreneurs to turn creative ideas into impactful solutions. Well, please join me in welcome Mr. Mahip KC to virtual stage.
Hello.
Hello. Can everybody hear me and see me
Yes,
well?
we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you so much for the invitation, and for the introduction as well. So if I'm doing this right, my slide is visible right now.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Perfect. Um, just a sec. Is my screen being shared?
Is everything okay? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. There's just a small bar in the bottom that I wanted to get rid of. So,
Right. No problem.
anyways, okay. Yeah, greetings everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Mahip and I've been working with the National Innovation Center for 5 years. My presentation and for the next few minutes will be about fostering local innovation for economic growth. The lessons that us, the National Innovation Center, has learned through the 5 years that it has been working actively. Okay, so I think in this in this in this conference, I don't really have to explain the importance of technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship. I'm sure everyone is aware of that. But I would just want to take one example of the United States during the years of early 1900s to uh, mid 1900s, where 80% of the US GDP came directly from innovation and technology. So remember that the U.S. was at a time of war. There was the pressure of the war, but the fields such as automobile, agriculture, consumer electronics, they were all fostering and they were contributing significantly to its GDP. The automobile, agriculture, they were not just producing, they were not just selling cars, which they were doing a lot, but they were innovating in every process along the way. For example, the assembly line concept was started by Henry Ford, which would be able to build a car in 93 minutes as opposed to in 12 hours. So that's a substantial improvement in the time which takes to assemble a car. In terms of agriculture, John Deere, as we know, the large agriculture, international harvester also invented or kind of utilized the gas-powered tractors. There are also hybrid corns whose yields were significantly more. And due to the pressure of the war, there were a few breakthrough innovations also. For example, the radar, the penicillin, and also the early computers. All of them were emerged from war. So this is just one example of how technology, innovation, and entrepreneurship drives the economy of a country, so, which is true for other developed countries also, like China, Germany, Japan, and India. As we and I think a lot of the lower to middle income countries also understand the importance of the technology into entrepreneurship and innovation, why do we still fail to act upon it? So we know that it is going to help us become prosperous in terms of the economy to lead better lives. but why aren't we still being able to do this well? So if you kind of summarize a lot of the um, similar problems that all of the low to middle income countries are having, there's a very less percentage of GDP which is spent in R&D for the country. So the gross domestic product for any country has to be invested in R&D so that it can fund projects and development activities. But as you can see on the right, Kenya, Sri Lanka, Nigeria, and Nepal have a very low percentage of GDP that has been invested. To add to that, there are also policies that are not favorable to the innovators. There's a lot of bureaucracy. The the speed of the rate of doing work is not efficient, and also sometimes there's a very small market that the innovators can actually develop for. So one systemic factor that is sort of important also is the short-term focus of the country. A lot of these countries are still struggling to combat the effects of to provide basic necessities such as water, food, healthcare. So for the government also, it makes sense to kind of focus on the short-term development such as building roads and all of these infrastructures. So at the end, what really happens is innovators and entrepreneurs suffer. And but there are still a few innovators who try to do whatever they can wherever they are. But this is kind of like a bootstrap approach where you are dealing with less resources, and there's a lot of there's a higher chances of you failing, as opposed to if you are in a country where you have a lot of funding where you can kind of spend in terms of in the volatile nature of research and development. So at the end, a lot of the young people are also kind of scared to innovate. There's a certain stigma or a certain negative side to being seen as an entrepreneur. It's considered risky, and a lot of the young youth, they opt for stable jobs in government, in administration, in all of these fields. So there's very less innovation happening. So this is kind of interrelated to a systemic barrier. So if a country does not have a lot of innovations, a lot of research, the government also is not inclined towards making policies that favor the innovators because they don't really know what's happening in the country. So the entrepreneurs who are trying to do are considered as a necessity entrepreneurship. If you can categorize entrepreneurship, it would be in necessity entrepreneurship or opportunity entrepreneurship. Simply put, the necessity entrepreneurship is a state of entrepreneurship where you are trying to start your own business or do something because you don't really have other options. But on the other hand, the opportunity entrepreneurship is a, a kind of entrepreneurship where you are kind of trying to find an unmet need, an unmet market where the value you generate from your business or any service is a lot more in terms of, in comparison to the necessity entrepreneurship. So one important thing that necessity entrepreneurship kind of although you are looking it as okay, people are starting their own jobs and they're trying to start their own businesses, but in Nepal most of them is necessity entrepreneurship, which doesn't significantly contribute to the economy, but the opportunity entrepreneurship contributes significantly towards the economy because there are a lot of exports, there are a lot of services that you are kind of finding in an untapped market where the value is much more appreciated. Taking a look at the economic situation, on the right, we can see the trade deficit for since 1970 to 2023. And as we can see, it's a very downward growth, which is clearly very bad. Speaking in terms of the numbers, the trade deficit is almost 11 billion, where the import is almost 12 billion. So we are just merely exporting 1.3 billion as of 2023, which is what data I took from the Nepal Rashtra Bank. In terms of the exported items, we can see that we have been exporting a lot of spices, tea, carpet, and some iron. If I had to speak about the state at which we are exporting these spices and tea, the exports, although innately in Nepal, like the spices and tea, due to the natural conditions of the country, Nepal, which is really favorable, it once it is exported into the international market, it is not on par with the international standards. This is because Nepal lacks the advanced processing, packaging, storing technologies that can that the other competitors have already been using. So the bar is set pretty high, and what has happened is the value of the spices tea, which was very high a long time ago for Nepal because there were few competitors. Right now, Nepal's exports are not valued that much. The same is the case with carpets. The carpets, the Nepali carpet were world renowned a few years earlier. It was a perfect blend between. Okay, I think we can kind of take the questions in the end. We'll get back to that. Thank you so much for the questions. Um, we could see the Tibetan weave and the Western design kind of fused together to create these mesmerizing carpets, which were exported as luxury items in countries like Germany, Italy, and France. But what really happened is, due to the lack of policies in labor laws, the lack of subsidies in imports as well as exports, the Nepal failed to capitalize on a very high value market early on. So right now the carpets are still being made, but it's a very small scale, and it has been seen as a very high value item and it's been exported to a very small market in the world. And yes, we are importing a lot of petroleum, gold, and other vehicles. So briefly speaking about the National Innovation Center in all of this scenario, what our organization is it's a platform where any innovator can come in with their ideas. They can come in with their ideas, and we help them turn their ideas into prototypes and minimal viable products so that they can take those products into the market, test it with the actual community, actual businesses, actual customers, get feedback, iterate them, and kind of like make Nepal economically prosperous. So we envision that down the line there are going to be a few innovative products that are going to fit very well in the local market, so that we don't have to rely on these products from abroad and thereby reducing the trade deficit. So that is kind of like the short-term goal. A long-term goal is to generate a lot of innovators and entrepreneurs within Nepal, and there's an ecosystem of innovators who are trying to solve not just Nepal's problem, but trying to solve the problems globally and work as a powerhouse in innovation. So we have been working with numerous innovators so far. And in the last 5 years, we have supported almost 120 different projects. Half of them are close towards being production. They are being tested in the market. Users are providing feedback. We are iterating. We are following the entire process. And some are doing really well in terms of the commercial aspects. They are making certain profit, out of which the innovators take all of it. So we don't really take any stakes of the projects that the innovators make. We are there to support them by providing the materials, tools, network, and anything that they want to help to turn their ideas into reality. So far, we have been ideating and building a lot of things. We have been a lot really fast in that, but the market testing kind of is being challenged due to a little bit of primitive manufacturing technology. So I'm just going to run through a few projects that the Innovation Center has been doing. So we started in 2012 and officially, but we didn't have a place to work and we didn't have a lot of projects at that time. Only in 2019, when we just got a place in the Tribhuvan University, um, the pandemic just got to us. So the first thing that we did during the COVID pandemic, we worked on 13 different projects that were directly for the frontline workers fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. So a few of these projects are a mini oxygen plant that you can kind of run an ICU environment. So these are all different small personal home use oxygen concentrators all tied up together to supply an ICU, isolation chambers, purifying respirators so that you can limit the cross-contamination. And we worked on 13 different innovations during this time. We have been building solar dehydrators, interactive learning materials, a drone which can carry medicines in the high altitude region of Nepal. It can carry a medicine almost weighing almost 1 kilogram, a low-cost baby warmer that can be used in rural parts of Nepal to prevent the newborn babies of cold stress, also known as hypothermia. And a lot of equipments that the farmers can use locally. So we can now split bamboos, make toothpicks, we can make small paper plates. So these are all the work of the innovators that they have been doing. And these are the pictures from real locations where they are being tested. On the right, you can see it's being like worshipped and like it's set and ready to produce things. So we have 50 scaling machine, toothpick making machine, a low-cost electric wheelchair for the differently able people in Nepal. We have been converting the combustion engine vehicles to electric vehicles. We have small hand tools that we have been making in the agriculture factory. And we are not just working alone. We have been collaborating with a lot of universities such as the MIT, TUDEF, London Colleges of Arts, Medical University of Northeast Ohio, also named as NeoMed USA. And every year we received interns, 5 to 8 interns every year, and we've been working with them. So here are a few pictures of them working with the medical drone team. So we give them a problem where both of them can work together. So we are learning from them also, and they're learning from us. It's a two-way process. We also have been taking them out to the villages of Nepal to kind of show them what the landscape there is. So this is the medical drone that we have been testing in the rural areas of Nepal. This is a solar electric cooker that the students went to the Mustang region. So it's a Trans-Himalayan region, and they have been testing these kinds of innovations, working with the community directly. Yeah, so these are a few things that the interns have been doing. So what are we doing? So what is the innovation center actually doing is we are at this stage starting the culture of innovation. So a lot of people don't really know what innovation is. So we are kind of starting to spread the word about, okay, things can be built in Nepal. So you can actually build some new things, some things that make your lives better within Nepal. So perception is like in Nepal, you can't really build anything. So we are at this point focusing on the numbers, trying to provide a low barrier to entry for any kind of innovators that can come into our innovation center and work all of these in all of these projects. So ultimately, we are informing the stakeholders about these activities, because remember, the systemic barriers are not just innate for the government aspect. So if the government or any kind of the stakeholders don't really see that there's some work being done, they don't really have the pressure or the inclination to change or structure the policy so that it favors them. So at this point, we are kind of really trying to make an ecosystem of a lot of innovations in different kinds of fields, as you might have seen from the presentation. So ultimately, We hope that, not hope, we kind of believe that the stakeholders are going to be aware, they are going to be informed about the things happening, and it's going to be a lot more easier. They can work with us on generating or like drafting policies that's going to favor us. So challenges that we have kind of observed amongst a lot of challenges, if I had to pick three, is like the unfavorable import and exports. We oftentimes have to bring in hardwares, any kind of materials, chemicals and stuff to test, and we don't really know whether it's going to work or not. So I think all of us know the nature of research. So we still have to pay a commercial customs to the Department of Customs Nepal, and we are kind of working with the government and kind of trying to find a midway between this. The standardization is one barrier that has kind of um, impacted a few of the projects at the Innovation Center in terms of the biomedical, automobile, and aviation areas. So the automobile and aviation areas needs regulation from the government. For example, the converted vehicle that we have built does not have a road permit because there aren't any regulatory bodies that can certify that, okay, the automobile that you have converted is safe to be used on the roads, or the medical drone that we have built is safe to be delivering medicines on the road. So so this is something that we are also time and again working with the government, informing them about, okay, these are things that should be doing there. And sorry, so we also don't really have a lot of government funding, and the nature of the funding is kind of outcome oriented, where you have to have a tangible output at the end of any funding that you take. But given the nature of the research and innovation, sometimes you fail, and that kind of is not acceptable by a lot of these funds. So these are mostly for like procurement of certain devices, which are might be new to the market, but we don't really have the funds to kind of do research and build these kinds of devices. And this is something that we have been um, facing challenges with. Um, yeah, so I think in the end, I think that's pretty much what I had to share in this time. And thank you so much for the opportunity. And yeah, I can take questions.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's incredible work that the NIC is doing. And I think one thought that came to my mind is like really all these young entrepreneurs are thinking about the needs of their community. So it's not necessarily for like I'm sure like they would want like money involved, but like it's really to help those around them. So like the slow cooker that's like powered by solar energy, the drones that can send medicine, and even the wheelchairs. Like I think it's incredible how noble these aspirations are, and it's incredible the work that's being done. So thank you for sharing.
No problem.
So yes, there are some questions in the chat. I can read or would you like to read the first one?
Okay. Thank you, Eliza. Myself, like Rasna KC, working as a part-time, like include. I have been involved in Seed Nanotech since 8 months. Like it's a really like great pleasure to involve with the Seed Nanotech. So as an office admin coordinator, I work here, and like thank for Mr. Mahip for his valuable insights for the National Innovation Center, and like in all, like in aggregate form, he gives the valuable insights of how challenging it is to work with the like to take a grants from government and as well from other sides. It's really a clear version, but also like I want to take some questions there, like many people are like curious to ask you the question. So going continuously with the first question, like what are the some challenges faced by the innovators in Nepal according to the NIC? Like it's like always in the mind, like it's not easy job, like every people face the challenges like while starting everything. So first, can you elaborate the challenges faced by the NIC?
Sure, sure. I think it's a very nice question. Uh, in my experience, the NIC as an organization provides a very low barrier for any kind of innovators to come in. So they don't really have a problem to start a project. But what really happens is once they kind of have a viable product, we don't really have business or market-oriented vision. So a lot of the projects kind of stall finding the perfect market where it's going to be actually valuable for the customer. So they can build it, no problem, but it's very hard for the innovators to sell. So I think that's one challenge that we have been facing, and the innovators also we there are different levels of innovators. Some really want to work on the agriculture, mechanical, and all of that stuff, but we are having some hard time finding people who can work in deep tech like computer vision, AI, and in all robotics, all of these, because the demand is very high in other countries. So they are very much um, inclined towards leaving the country. So I think those are the main problems.
So thank you for that. And going to the next question, like how do drones help deliver medicine in rural areas of Nepal? So it is a big like challenges as well. So how would do it like works?
Yeah, sure. So the drone that we have built in Nepal is we started this project at around 2018, and at this point of time, we have been able to cover a distance of 30 kilometers aerially, and it can drop a particular package. It can be it can be medicine, it can be samples, it can be blood, or any crucial items based on the GPS location. So we have to kind of coordinate with a health center so that we can find, okay, which of the health posts are lacking medicine. So there we can kind of coordinate and establish a one-to-one connection between for the deliveries. And in the current context, what is really happening is there's a lot of problems with the landslides. The roads are not properly built, so it kind of now monsoon is also starting, so it's going to be very hard for the logistics to cover the need of the medicine. So this is where we think the medical drone would be particularly valuable.
Most of the question are already like asked in the chat box. So I
Yeah.
do have like in regards to that, I do have some question, but you have already tell about the that things like you guys have done amazing work during the period of COVID-19. Like it was really amazing. Like many individuals were like having a problem. You guys did a fabulous job over that time. So it's really grateful over that. And so I want to talk. If you guys have any question, then you can ask to him. Like,
Yeah, and I think there's also a very generous donation from Seed Nanotech.
uh,
Um,
yeah.
thank you so much, and I think it's
So
we
yeah,
really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
so
Thank
yeah,
you so much.
we can read it out. So it says,
yeah.
amazing work by NIC. Thank you for informative and inspiring talk. The following message is passed by the director of C Nanotech. C Nanotech is committing a $1,000 donation to the center today. It's a small amount, but we hope to contribute more in the future through collaboration and partnership. We also look forward to building a strategic partnership between NIC and Canadian Nanotech Centers.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time and your valuable insights on like innovation and like energizing the young entrepreneurs. Like, hope you guys do best jobs over the upcoming days and best of luck for that as well. Right now, we are going to the another presenter. Thank you so much for your time and effort.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.